All right, Nick, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Big game this week versus the Dallas Cowboys. I would say it probably two of the most popular teams in America historically. They both have a lot of great things going for them. And I think this is going to be a big game. A lot of big time players showing up, but two most notably from the Dallas Cowboys side may not be making it. But I think the way that Mike Tomlin has reacted to this news is the real story here. I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, Lawrence Parsons may be out, maybe injured for this game. They could potentially not show up this week to play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. For a lot of teams, they'd be breathing a sigh of relief. Not Mike Tomlin. He has a very different approach of how he's going to attack this. Let's get into the article and we can talk more about it on the other side. This, of course, from Steelers Wire. It says, Dallas will likely be without edge rushers DeMarcus Lawrence foot and Micah Parsons ankle on Sunday night. Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy is preparing to play without both Lawrence and Parsons, but Mike Tomlin has a different perspective. He says, I use the phrase all the time. If you have red paint, you paint your bar red. Without those dynamic edge people like Lawrence and maybe even Parsons out, we better get ready for a lot of schematic pressure from him. But we better also prepare for the likes of Parsons. A guy like that is not normal in any circumstances, so we better be prepared if he shows up in stadium to work and minimize him and how they move him around in his unique talents, particularly in one-dimensional passing moments. I think this is a great move by Mike Tomlin just to say, hey, I don't care what you say, but until he physically shows up at game time and isn't dressed on the sidelines, we're going to prepare for a guy like Micah Parsons because it's too dangerous not to. This is the right approach from a winning team, a team that wants to try and go make a playoff run. This is how you got to act. I think this is really good news for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Nick, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one, but before we get to you Steelers fans, in the comment section below, with this news, without this news, regardless, I think it changes things either way, but I want to know, what do you think the score of this one is going to be? Do you think the Steelers are going to win big? Do you think it's going to be tight? Could they possibly even lose this one? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below on the final score of the Steelers versus the Dallas Cowboys. But nonetheless, Nick, what do you think about this reaction from Mike Tomlin?
I think it's absolutely the perfect decision from Mike Tomlin. And look, Tomlin's a guy who's gotten a lot of criticism in terms of how he's coached his team, how he's managed the personalities. Some of it warranted, some of it not. But this is a perfect move to make. Lawrence is out. He's on injured reserve. A lot of people believe Parsons won't play. You never really know until game time, like you say. Odds are he won't. But I really like the fact that Tomlin is preparing his team just in case. Because even if Parsons is limited to that, say, just third and medium to third and long, that's still 5 to 10 critical snaps a game. And Parsons is a guy who lines up all over the field in those situations, over the center, either side of the offensive line, over the guard. They move him around all over the place. You've got to be prepared to handle him. It's all about communication. It's all about understanding where number 11 for Dallas is, setting up your protections. And here's the really important thing that a lot of people in the media are forgetting, and I know you Steelers fans know this really well. This is a patchwork offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. We know Fatanu's on IR. Frazier came in because of Herberg's injury. He's done great, but he's still a young player. We got McCormick coming in at right guard right now with Daniels. That's just a heartbreaking injury right there, the Achilles. Hope he gets a recovery and comes back next season full strength. I think he's got a really good potential in front of him. But this is a patchwork offensive line that's new with communication, new with understanding how they want to play together. In order to get them to handle this different situations that's going to be coming in front of them, you can't let them get complacent. You don't want these guys to breathe a sigh of relief and say, okay, Parsons isn't playing, we can relax, we can focus on some different things. No, you want pedal to the metal. You want everyone on that offensive line dead to rights focused on the worst possible scenario. Listen, if Parsons can't play and you see a lot of vanilla 4-down defensive linemen, great. Thank God. But if he does play, hey, at least you're prepared to handle it, especially, again, rookie center, rookie guard, a lot of injuries up front, of course. Fatanu, I really would have liked him to play more this season. Unfortunately, he's injured too. I thought when he played, he was really good. You're going to need guys like Jones. You're going to need more to step up at the tackle position. But again, patchwork group, communication is going to be critical. You get that communication as you prepare for the game day in practice all week. You prepare them for the worst possible scenario. Great coaching here by Mike Tomlin, and it could become a big difference for him whether Parsons plays or doesn't.
Yeah, Nick, and I think the point that you bring up is the most important here. Because if you prepare for Micah Parsons as if he is going to be playing, the worst that can happen is Micah Parsons plays and you're prepared for him. The best case scenario is he doesn't play and you're more prepared for whoever is on the field there. So I think this is the right approach from the Steelers. I think Mike Tomlin is showing some, valuable coaching here. I think this is team 3-1. You got a lot on the line coming off a loss against the Colts, tight loss there as well. You want to prepare this team, like you said, go out there, have them on their toes, be prepared for anything, because I think complacency is what loses you like a game against the Colts. You can't get complacent. Dallas might be down a couple games. They might have had a couple of shaky performances, but nonetheless, this is a really talented team, especially defensively when everybody's healthy. This team, Diggs, Parsons, Lawrence, there's so many great players on the defense side of the ball for Dallas, as well as on the offensive side of the ball. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, nothing to scoff at there. So I think this is the right approach from Mike Tomlin, saying, hey, I think this is a team that is doing really great stuff this season. I think we can win all these games. The only way we don't is if we get complacent. We take news like this for granted and we just say, okay, Parsons isn't going to be out there. Let's just go on our merry way. Should be an easy game. I don't think that's what he wants. And I think we're seeing this is a new Steelers team. This is a team that's looking forward and taking advantage of every opportunity.
Yeah, going into this matchup, I think it's one of the more interesting games all weekend to talk specifically about the Steelers-Cowboys game, because both teams have a lot of injuries, right? It seems like every team's really beat up this year. It's crazy. Injuries are flying all over the place. The NFL, I don't know what they're going to do, but this has just been a problem this season. But both teams, offensively and defensively, Steelers and Cowboys, are very beat up, missing a lot of key guys going into Sunday. So in matchups like this, I always look for who is better at quarterback and who is better at coach. Nothing against Fields. You give the edge to Dak Prescott 9 times out of 10. Prescott, of course, is due for his clunkers, but most of the time I would sit there and say he's got a little bit of an edge on Justin Fields. But coaching is where you can make that up and overcome that delta, and Mike Tomlin with this move proves he's a better coach than McCarthy over on the Dallas side, and I think it could be the difference come Sunday night.